live from Sona Entertainment and Recording Studios. Welcome back.
Welcome back.
TE Time Sports. Sorry for the little hiatus. Took a couple weeks off, all for good reason. One of the co-hosts, aka me.
Tiempo, congratulations for getting married.
Hitched. Yeah. Had to take a couple weeks off for that. Shout out my lovely wife, Kim.
Shout out. Love
you, baby. But let's get back into it. Where are we starting off today?
Let's get back into the swing of things. It feels good to be back, to get the headphones on and speaking into the mic and looking at you and knowing we're going to have some hostility today because we just have that vibe going that we're going to disagree on a couple topics.
Hate your guts.
Hate your guts. We're going to go over the games the last weeks. We had a couple crazy ones, a couple upsets, a couple losses, a couple teams that didn't want to show up. We're going to cover a little NBA because we wrapped up the first month. And which is nice to say, we have some teams that are excelling or maybe overachieving and some teams that are underachieving, and we'll kind of get into that a little deeper. And no better time than now. So, Tiempo, why don't you take it away with the
let's
week 10 NFL.
Well, where better to start than the Thursday night game of week 10?
Oh, my God. Yeah, so how about I start with that then? So, the Chargers, abysmal. Phillip Rivers, I've loved watching you for 14 years. You can sling the ball like a cowboy in the South. I kid you not, though you are on the West Coast. But what are you doing? You had about 2 or 3 interceptions called back on it on penalties, but you still threw 3 anyways. It's like, come on, dude. I'm going to give you the time of day, but
Phillip Rivers almost completed as many passes, or he completed 3 more passes than he has kids. So he was 17 of 31, only 200 yards. 2 touchdowns and 3 picks. I mean,
no, and he got sacked 5 times. You know, every single time it seemed like they were going to get going and the defense was playing pretty staunchly. You thought they were going to pull ahead a little bit. Sure enough, they let Derek Carr stay in the game. The dude threw for 218 yards and a touchdown, only sacked 3 times. I think that is where the deciding factor is, where a week ago, the Chargers were getting after Aaron Rodgers a little bit more so. Chargers just couldn't get it done on the Raiders' offensive line, unfortunately.
I think that the Oakland Raiders jumped off to that 10-0 start. You know, I thought myself, I'm like, oh, geez, this might be
the game.
Another blowout. You know, going back to a couple of our first podcasts, we had the Raiders buried in this division.
Well, because they had the whole Antonio Brown thing going on, and that was a dark cloud hanging over them. It's all sunny skies in Oakland right now.
I mean, Josh Jacobs is looking like the rookie of the year.
Sure, offensive rookie of the year for sure.
You know, scored the game winner, big play at the end of the game. Mm-hmm. Going back to the Chargers, I think Melvin Gordon's kind of getting back into that groove. He had over 100 yards, got his touchdown. He's getting his rhythm back. But at the same time, I just feel like there's just this lack of spark on offense. You have Keenan Allen, you have Hunter Henry, you have Melvin Gordon, Austin Eckler. It has to be Rivers, does it? Is it not?
So I don't know what it's going on. They have a new offensive coordinator that fired Ken Wisenhunt 2 weeks ago, and they have this new guy, Shane Steichen, and a week ago against Aaron Rodgers, they ran the ball at will and they had a great game. This week it was a little different. It wasn't quite the same. They when they're on the goal line, they had 4 downs within inside the 8-yard line or whatever it was, and they're throwing it to Andre Patton. You got yourself Hunter Henry, a big threat in Mike Williams, and you got a nice little under out with Keenan Allen. What are you doing throwing at Andre Patton or Lance Kendricks for? No offense to those guys because they do step up when you need them to, but it bugged me. It ticked me off a lot. They scored the touchdown, went ahead. They gave the ball back to the Raiders with 4 minutes to go. Derek Carr drove him downfield. Like, to your point, Josh Jacobs had the nice touchdown run to go ahead.
I think it's
the worst part about it is they missed the extra points. All Phillip Rivers had to do was go 40 yards for the money badger to hit a field goal.
Yep.
But sure enough, they just couldn't come up. You serious? Come on, Phillip Rivers.
And I think it's frustrating for you, too, because, the Chargers were up at the end of the fourth quarter, and it's make a defensive stop, hold them to a field goal. You had
all it is. Hold them to a field goal, and exactly right.
I think they're missing Derwin James a little bit. I think Derek Carr, didn't have the best game, but he made passes when he had to.
Exactly right. He and the worst part was the Chargers were really holding Josh Jacobs back. If not for that long run at the end there, they were holding him significantly. I think it was a 30-yard run. That was pretty much, 40% of his rushing yards for the day. So it got under my skin a little bit. It was a rough weekend because I didn't have the heart to watch football at that point because Chargers dropped 4-5 or 4-6, whatever it is now there. And it's just tough. But nonetheless, they are still 2 games back because Kansas City Chiefs went ahead and lost in overtime against the Tennessee Titans.
Another crazy game with the Titans.
Yep.
With that, you had Mahomes coming back off the injury. I thought Tennessee's kind of one of those middle of the pack teams, have always been kind of that they are with their record are 5-5.
Yeah.
Mahomes lit it up, 446 yards, 3 touchdowns. Tyreek Hill had a big game, 11 catches, 137 yards for a touchdown, but just comes down to the Chiefs not closing it out. We thought they were this powerhouse, and all of a sudden now you're looking at 6-4. Granted, Mahomes is out for a couple games, but that's anyone's division now. The Raiders are 5-5. The Chargers are right there. Broncos.
It's up for the grabs. Yeah. No, it's definitely up for the grabs.
Now you were expecting, me especially, I thought Mahomes was going to be the MVP of the league. I thought the Chiefs were going to knock off the Pats this year. And now you're looking at it like,
it looks like it's going to be the Ravens that are going to be the team that knock off the Pats and see the AFC and, represent the AFC in the Super Bowl. Funny thing in this game was Derrick Henry rushed for more yards than Ryan Tannehill threw, which is kind of funny because he rushed for $188. Man had a field day. But it was down to Ryan Tannehill at the last drive that got him into the end zone, into the touchdown, and the nice little 18-yard scamper that got him for the tutty to go ahead.
How you feel about that whole QB situation down in Tennessee?
That's tough. I don't know what Ryan Tannehill's contract is right now, so I don't want to speak upon that.
I already said Mariota was gone at the end of this year. He's underperformed. He's
significantly, and I think Jameis Winston's going to be done in Tampa Bay as well.
Maybe both those dudes aren't in the right system. They are promising college players, went 1 and 2 in the draft overall, but there just hasn't been that production from them. And Tennessee, I feel like, is a good quarterback away from kind of being in that wild card situation. You look at the Pittsburgh Steelers this past weekend that have a backup QB and they're still in that wild card situation. So imagine,
surprisingly so.
Tennessee has a good defense. They stopped the Chiefs. They blocked the field goal at the end of the game. So
yeah, the Tennessee Titans are an intriguing team to me because they go ahead and they beat the the Kansas City Chiefs. But then you got shut up by Denver a few weeks ago. You lost to Minshew Mania. You currently sit at 5-5, and you might miss the playoffs. They're shouldn't be a thing.
It's too much up and down.
It's way too much up and down.
Let's get to the Kings of New York right now.
You like that game, huh? Danny Dimes, though lost, is nominated for Air FedEx Player of the Game because he threw for how many yards was it? It was 400 yards or 308. I'm sorry, with 4 touchdowns. He had a pretty good game, but
I think those stats are misleading between Danny Dimes and Sam Darnold. Jets obviously came in with the game win. Big win for them because that's pretty much all they had for this season.
Sure.
So you look at Danny Dimes' stats, 26 of 40, 308 yards, 4 touchdowns. Fumbled the ball 3 times, though.
Mm-hmm.
Granted, he didn't lose it every single time, but
you should be holding on to that ball.
I think that's 16 fumbles this year for him, and I want to say 7-8 starts. So he's got to learn how to protect the ball. He was sacked 6 times for 50 yards. Jamal Adams, one of my favorite player on the Jets.
Mm-hmm.
I think will be a top 3-5 play of the year. He just came in and ripped the ball right out of his hands
and took it to the house. Well, enjoy it now because he may not be there next year.
Yeah, well,
we'll see. Well, that's yet to be told, or the year before, year after that. But
his best game of the season: 9 tackles, 2 sacks, strip sack, and there was a 4th and 1 play that Danny Dimes tried to do a little QB sneak, and little Troy Polamalu over the top. Jamal Adams jumped right over the offensive lineman and just
stopped him,
sacked him right in the backfield. So if we're keeping count, New York Giants fans, Jamal Adams has 2 touchdowns this year, and your boy OBJ that you guys traded and didn't want him to trade has 1. So
if you want to put it that way. Well, Cleveland's a dumpster fire. Even though they're winning, it's not really winning to me. But to me in this Jet game, it was about defense because, they led up 308 passing yards, but they held Saquon Barkley on 3 attempts to just 1 yard.
Yeah,
that comes to 0.1.
13 rushes for 1 yard.
Exactly. That's 13 attempts on 1 yard. It only averages to 0.1 yard per carry. So they held him back. They really contained him. They couldn't quite do so in the secondary, but when you're able to pretty much make it one-dimensional, it's just passing, you're going to let up some passing yards, but
And you could poke fun at the Jets all you want. Coming into this game, they had in the NFL the 4th ranked rushing defense in the NFL. They had 2 backup corners playing that I can't even name them.
Mm-hmm.
So the fact that, Slayton had a game, he had 11 catches, I think he had over 200 yards, 2 touchdowns.
121 yards, yeah.
Yeah.
He had a game.
Had a good game, but they said, we're not going to let Saquon Barkley beat us. You want to throw the ball on us? Go ahead, try it. But They were down a little bit in the third quarter, fourth quarter, but Jets ended up coming out and topping them.
Surprisingly so. When I turned around and saw they won, I was happy. I was happy for you.
And we got the Redskins this week, so
yeah,
we'll see what happens.
A lot of optimism going on in MetLife, and it's not for the big blue. Another game you want to look at, and we could talk briefly on this one because I was extremely fascinated the fact that the Saints could not get anything going against the Atlanta Falcons.
Oh my God.
Atlanta Falcons was by far the most depressing team going into the season. Since they lost the Super Bowl, they've been on a hill. They've been going downhill.
I shitted on them.
Easily, because they just were underperforming. You had Matty Ice. You gave Julio contract, the big fat contract right before the beginning of the year. What's happening? But then they got it done against Drew Brees and the Saints. I don't know if Drew Brees is still not, a little dusty shaken off from that little injury bye he was taking. But 26-9, and even at the end of the game there, it was the end of the fourth quarter, which is 10 seconds left. All you have to do is just get across the goal line. You got a touchdown. But no, they couldn't get it done. So that game was a little abysmal to say the least for those New Orleans fans.
So let's speed through a couple of these other upsets that we had this weekend. Colts Dolphins. Dolphins won 2 in a row. I can't believe they're tanking for 2 and somehow they got themselves out of that.
Yeah,
might be tanking for Joe Burrow at this point
which I think Joe Burrow's the better.
Yeah,
I think he's a better quarterback than Tua.
We'll get to that. We'll get to that. Yeah, but I think it was a little surprise to a lot of Colts fans at last minute that Brissett was going to be out. But the Dolphins, man,
Brian Flores may just mess around and get himself a Coach of the Year award.
Might come out with 5 wins. Yeah. They play the Jets again. You never know what's going to happen.
You really don't know. It wasn't a great game. It was a lower scoring game, 16-12. Kenny Ballage is looking like a bell cow, but he's not really doing much, averaging 2.2 yards per carry. Well, we
saw you trade Drake away, and then he goes to Arizona, and of course
he's having himself a great, a nice all afternoon, a good career.
Another intriguing one for me though was the Steelers and the Rams. I mean,
yeah, Minka Fitzpatrick has been a all-star, all-pro.
Going into this game, I would have thought Rams were all over this one. Mason Rudolph probably against that defense. I was thinking a lot of sacks, a lot of turnovers, but
you got it done.
It was the other quarterback that really didn't do it. Jared Goff, only 243 yards, no touchdowns, 2 interceptions, had a QBR rating of 13.4, which I think the only 2 people to have lower than that this season is Sam Darnold and Luke Falk.
There you go. I don't know if you should be happy about that or sad about that.
No Brandon Cooks, which I think makes a big difference in that slot position.
Mm-hmm.
But the big story today, Cooper Kupp.
They completely shut him out. Every time they threw the ball to him, they were playing good defense.
He didn't even have a single target.
He had 4. He had 4 targets all game, and there was a couple Minka Fitzpatrick came in, knocked the ball out, and he was on him like white on rice the entire game.
Excuse me, receptions I meant.
No receptions. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, he had 4 targets, but no receptions. Completely shut out, and you expect a lot more from a Cooper Kupp. A lot more.
And just even if you shut him down, you still got Robert Woods, you still have Reynolds, the tight end, you still have Gurley. Like, what are you guys doing right now?
Sure.
You look at the brilliant game last night, which was the game of the week, the Seahawks and 49ers.
Agreed.
We'll break down the game a little bit, but you look at a Rams standpoint from the standings, the 49ers are 8-1, the Seahawks are 8-2, and the Rams are sitting at 6-3.
They have some ways to go, and they may just be a team that misses the playoffs because that NFC is looking pretty good right now.
Divisions, you can't say that's not the best division in football right now.
At this moment, you really can't. There's not another division that's stepping up to the plate quite like that NFC West. I'm sorry. But getting into that the Sunday night game, Monday night games. That Seahawks San Francisco game was quite the finisher, wasn't it?
I was on the edge of my seat. I had Russell Wilson. I needed 30 fantasy points. He didn't quite get that.
You were on the edge of the seat because you were falling asleep and your back was sliding down the chair.
Those Monday night games kill me. But that was such an entertaining game. The 49ers went up 10-0. I was like, oh, man, this is going to be a rout. Clowney comes. How about Jadeveon Clowney? For as many teams as he's bounced around to, this guy is a baller, man. He's maybe not lived up to that number 1 pick hype, but that dude gets it done, whether it's only distracting defenders and getting linemen away from him and letting other people cause the play.
Sure.
But he had the strip sack, the fumble recovery, pressured Garoppolo 5 times.
Had the touchdown.
Had himself a game.
He definitely had himself a game. And Russell Wilson, to me, is that front runner for the MVP candidate right now. But he got it done, and then to be honest, they shouldn't have even gotten the ball at the beginning of the overtime because it sounded like Geno Smith was saying for with tails, and they gave him heads, and they got the ball, and sure enough, they ended up winning regardless. But
I have no words on Geno Smith, so we'll just keep it at that.
Yeah, that is what it is.
Okay, so going back into your MVP talk, I have 2 quarterbacks and I have 2 running backs for you, and I want you to see where we stand. So obviously, Russ, I had this written down before last night. 2,500 yards, 22 touchdowns, and 1 interception. QBR of 118.2. I know he threw a pick last night. I'm not sure of his total stats.
Who, Russ's?
Yeah.
23 touchdowns and 2 interceptions.
Okay. So
Also, that's on season long.
Yep. And you got Mahomes, obviously in the MVP conversation. Still has more yards than Russ. 18 TDs, 1 interception, 114 QBR. And then you have Lamar Jackson. Only 2,000 yards passing, but guess his rushing stats for this year. I'm just curious.
Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and say, which I don't know off the top of my head because I haven't really done a lot of look into Lamar Jackson's rushing, but I want to say he's just probably under 700, so 680, I would say. Is that right now?
So he has 106 carries for 702 yards this year and 6 touchdowns. Do you know what that ranks in NFL rushing?
Currently? That's got to be top 5.
He's in the top 10.
Top 10, yeah.
And he's a quarterback.
Yeah, and he's passing over 2,000 yards right now.
And the play he had versus the Bengals, I mean, you can't replicate that. You got to be on rookie mode in Madden to spin through that many dudes.
That's that Mike Vick 2004, flow he had going on there.
I'm sick of all these dudes kind of hating on, oh, he's Mike Vick, like wait till he plays a good defense. And, this is the modern day NFL,
Yep.
He's not the biggest or strongest dude, but he makes the plays. He can make it with his feet.
Sure.
He can throw the ball when he needs to. I think he should be in that MVP conversation, but ultimately, I'm going with Russell Wilson.
Yeah, I'm with you. And, Lamar Jackson may have the biggest neck in the NFL, but for sure it's Russell Wilson that is killing it right now. For 2,700 yards, 23 touchdowns, a 2 interception ratio is pretty darn good. His team is winning, and that's really what it comes down to. Not to say that the Ravens aren't winning, but you have in that backfield, as we saw this weekend, you have 2 Heisman trophies behind him. Yeah. But they have, I hate to say it, but the better assets around Lamar Jackson, which they've done a great job as far as the coaching and GM is getting all the great players into that position. Or Russell Wilson just seems to do it every single year with either rookies or a bunch of 2s,
doesn't matter
3s.
The personnel, man.
It doesn't matter because he has it.
The guy the tight end last night, I don't even know his name.
And you don't need to know because it's going to be another guy next week.
He was number 48. That's all you need to know.
Exactly right. So to me, Russell Wilson is the MVP candidate.
For the other 2 candidates I had for running back, obviously Christian McCaffrey is in that conversation.
Yep.
10 yards short of 1,000 for the year already, 11 touchdowns. Also has another 50 receptions for about 400 yards catching.
Yep.
So he's definitely in that MVP conversation. We'll see how far the Panthers can go. We're looking at Cam Newton departure there, which will be interesting to see who I picked for MVP this year, which obviously is not going to happen.
He might just go to the Chargers, I hear.
I wouldn't mind that at all.
I wouldn't be someone asked me that because you can call my brother-in-law asked me that the other day and was saying, hey, how do you feel if Cam Newton went to the Chargers? And I said, that's all I said. I said nothing. I was like, I had to think about that one because it's at eye glance. It's like, oh, here we go. Another song and dance with the injury after injury. But he's a good player. He went 15-1 once. Not many people can say they've gone 15-1. Went to the Super Bowl. Had a horrible Super Bowl, but he got there. And who's your other pick at MVP for running back?
You know our boy. We've been talking about him all year.
Dalvin Cook, huh?
So Dalvin Cook actually has 2 more yards rushing
than Christian McCaffrey.
He has 1 less touchdown, which we call that a wash.
Yep.
5 less receptions for 50 less yards.
Mm-hmm.
They're both pretty much similar, but
pretty much.
For MVP, I think that it means the most to your team. And without Dalvin Cook striving on the Vikings, there is no Kirk Cousins. There's no Adam Thielen. There's no Stephon Diggs. Mm-hmm. Dalvin Cook does more than just getting the job done. He opens up Kirk Cousins. He doesn't put all that pressure on him where I feel like, the whole offense is based around Christian McCaffrey there. You know, even with Cam Newton, you kind of had those RPOs and opened up a little bit. But now with Kyle Allen, I feel like they're being a little more restrictive. They're trying to work McCaffrey a little more, get him dump offs out the backfield, hand him off the ball more. You're seeing a little less production from Samuel and a couple of other receivers, Olsen. So,
no, that's a great point you're bringing up. Most valuable. Now, who is the most valuable to your team? You're absolutely right. It's Dalvin Cook. He's toting the ball in the ballpark at 20 times a game. Now, you don't really see that often in the NFL this day and age because you have so many three-headed monsters, two-headed monsters. So the fact that you're seeing Dalvin Cook carry the ball 20-something times, and then Madison's still getting his coverage, but it's encouraging to see. And you got to say Dalvin Cook is probably would edge him out. If I'm starting a team and I'm looking at running back, that's a tough one. You know, I would love to have Christian McCaffrey.
Those two are right there.
Right there. But I think I would go Dalvin Cook because he's a little bit more of like that Melvin Gordon, like I'm going to run through you instead of running around you. Or Christian McCaffrey's like I'm a scat back.
He doesn't run side to side. He runs up
through you. Where Christian McCaffrey kind of has that Danny Woodhead-esque better version of him, where he can just kind of run around you. He can make you miss a tackle or two. Smaller guy gets the job done. Now I'm going to present a question to you, and I would love to hear your answer. If you're starting a offense, what would your trio be? And a quarterback, an RB1, and a wide receiver 1.
I get any pick I want?
Any pick you want, and you don't have to worry about any kind of cap space or anything of the sort.
So I'd probably go Mahomes at quarterback. I'd pass up on Brady just because he's a little...
older.
Yeah, at this point. No offense.
No, none taken.
I'd probably go Mahomes. It'd be a coin flip between McCaffrey and Cook. Mm-hmm. And then I'm definitely going Michael Thomas.
Yeah. Reception monster.
Wait. No, let me change that. I'll go Hopkins.
Okay.
Either of those two dudes at receiver, but I think Hopkins is so dominant as position. He's can be double team, triple team, doesn't matter.
Mm-hmm. Everything under the sun.
Doesn't drop a ball, less than 5 drops every single year of his career. So, yeah, I let me go Mahomes, Cook, and Hopkins.
It's compelling. Very compelling. Yeah, I'd probably go with Cook at running back. I've put some thought into this, and there's so many ways to go about it. When you look at it, you can go and say, oh, well, that they wouldn't fit together or they wouldn't be right. You kind of hit the nail on the head or close enough to. You'd want to go with Mahomes at quarterback because he's the most, you know what you're getting, and he's the most clutchest. He can do it on the run. He can do it off a dime. I wouldn't put Lamar Jackson there. But if I had to go start, I'd probably say, I wouldn't do the whole head shake. But I'd probably go with like a Russ Wilson at quarterback. Probably do a Dalvin Cook just to relieve him a little bit at running back. And if I'm going wide receiver, I'd probably want a jump ball guy, I want someone that's going to go up and get the ball. Or maybe someone that's running across the center. You know what? That's a tough question because there's so many good wide receivers nowadays. You can say Cooper Kupp, and that doesn't sound like a very flashy pick, but if you're going with someone that's going to give you the most value, you might want to go Cooper Kupp. Same thing can be said about Adam Thielen. Julio Jones has regressed a little bit, so I wouldn't want to put him in my trio, but I could even say Amari Cooper, So that's a hard question to answer as far as
you look at the 16 games that Amari Cooper's been, and I think Dak Prescott's QBR has jumped 25 points just for Amari Cooper being there.
Exactly right. You saw a toe tap he had at the end zone?
Oh, my God.
Beautiful. Absolutely beautiful.
It's like every week he comes out, 10 catches, $150, touchdown.
Yep.
Easy.
Before
we transition to NBA, let's get to this game of the century that we had over the weekend. LSU Bama. That was quite the game, man.
Back and forth. It's what you want in a college football game. We were going back and forth. I don't know, but I would be led to think that Alabama may just miss the college football playoffs because of that loss.
I hope they do, honestly. I'm sick of they're kind of like the New England Patriots where in a sense it's like
I'm tired of seeing them there.
Yeah, like you guys are winning every year or you're in the Super Bowl every year and you lose. Like I'm just done with that. Like let's see I would love to see an LSU Ohio State
something different
national championship game.
Something different, but I think due to viewership and what you want to see and what the people are so used to seeing, it would probably be better for Bama to be in there, and that's what's going to suck because they don't deserve to be in there. And then you're going to go ahead and they're going to, win 2 games and win the national championship because it's just like that.
You look at the breakdown of the QBs for the game. Tua, who I don't think is 100% right now. I think he just wanted to play because it was such a big game versus LSU. So he just wants to be out there. But 21 of 40, which this guy is supposed to be the most accurate passer in college football history. You know,
Sure.
Missing half your passes, that's not him. Had that big fumble on the first drive trying to run into the end zone. Fumbled that, gave it away. But still somehow came out with 418 yards, 4 touchdowns, only 1 pick. But you look at the other side of the ball, Joe Burrow.
Yeah.
31 of 39, 393 yards, 3 touchdowns.
Yeah. No, he had himself a day.
That kid's looking like a stud right now.
He's on his high horse and he's riding the train right now. You know, he's just doing his thing. He's going through the motions. I would want to take Joe Burrow over Tua Tagovailoa if my Chargers were that high up in the draft. I'd rather see Joe Burrow being taken there. Even though Tua's had a longer career of being better, that's a very interesting 1-2 duo. Who do you have winning the Heisman between the two of them? Because it seems like it's down to them.
I think it's Burrow at this point because Tua missed a couple games, so I think that will throw it off a little bit. But getting back to that draft, that Ohio State LSU championship game that I think is going to happen. I mean, maybe Clemson pulls off an upset. We just got recent news before that Alabama's actually out of the top four. So one of those teams will lose. Alabama will make it in there somehow.
Yeah.
But Chase Young, who is projected the number 1 pick in the NFL draft, might possibly be suspended for 4 games. So I'm not sure how that's going to shape up for them, but this whole NCAA nonsense needs to stop.
Yeah.
Got a personal loan from a family friend. Like, who cares? Like, your guys aren't paying these athletes. They're making you millions and millions of dollars. Took away their jersey sales, take away their video game, take away all this other stuff. Like,
it's a pain in the butt. I feel bad for a lot of the kids that he just wants to play. And the same thing could be said about NCAA men's basketball as well.
Yeah.
Where that, something Wiseman can't play because of something similar. Yeah. It was the booster ratings in,
you even see
Hardaway.
Even LeBron's comments on it. He's like, if I went to college, whatever college I went to, they would have sold just the number 23 jersey. They wouldn't have sold my last name. Yeah. They would have made $1 million off my number. It wasn't about me. So what am I benefiting from coming to the school?
Exactly.
I'm just going to go right to the NBA and make my money.
Which leads us right into the NBA. So I have a little something I want to try with you, all right? You ready for this?
Oh, gosh.
I'm going to give you 2 stat lines. I'm not going to give you the player's name. And I want you to tell me which one you'd rather have on your team.
Okay.
If you're going to be starting, or on your beloved Nets, who would you rather have?
One's going to be Kyrie.
Would you rather have someone averaging 29.7 points per game, 14 rebounds, and 6.8 assists? Or would you rather have somebody averaging 28 points, 10 rebounds, and 9 assists?
I'll go with the second one.
Second one, you'd rather have someone averaging 28, 10, and 3, or I'm sorry, 28, 10, and 9? Yes. Luka Doncic over Giannis Antetokounmpo you just selected.
Okay.
Luka Doncic, to me, is actually having a viable MVP career or MVP season that's going to be overlooked because he's on the Dallas Mavericks.
Yeah, and they lost to the Knicks, which is embarrassing.
It's a very embarrassing, but the only 2 players that actually put on in that game were Kristaps and Luka Doncic. I was high on Luka Doncic when he was coming out of Slovenia. He played like a baller in Spain under the age of 18. He was always going to be tied along with Trae Young because they were draft day trades. And I mean, not to say Trae Young's having a pretty good year, averaging 26, 8 and 1 steal that is, or almost 2 steals a game. But something Luka just not getting the respect he deserves.
I know. I feel like some of those games maybe aren't televised as much out there in Dallas, but that dude's a baller. I put him right there with Trae. I would take him over Trae Young, to be
100%.
honest. Nothing against Trae Young. I think he's going to be a phenomenal player in the league, but
I think you're going to get a little better defense with Luka Doncic, better offense for sure.
He's lankier, so he's going to get those block shots, tip passes,
Which Ice Trae's having a good year, though he missed a couple games due to that ankle sprain. I'm 100% going to take Luka Doncic. I think he is highly underrated, and the fact that you just picked his stats not knowing who it was just instills that. I may just be correct, might be right here.
You just said that because I picked Greek Freak for MVP, so
exactly. I'm gonna discredit that in so many ways. Though,
and you hate his guts, so.
Well, I don't hate his guts necessarily. I'd love to have a coffee with him and pick his brain and see what life is like with the Greek Freak.
So I did these notes last night, so this might not be up to date as of today, but let's talk about the 2 15th seeds in each conference.
Sure, let's do it.
Who do you think the Western Conference worst team is?
I'm going to go with the Warriors.
Can you believe that?
Can you believe that? You have D'Lo dropping 52. Steph Curry's out for season. Klay Thompson's out for season. Though Steph may make a comeback from spring.
Curry said he might make a comeback. Draymond's been out a couple games, but
to me, it's a wash for them this year.
I'm so happy for this downfall because
a little bit
they were so cocky and all this other stuff, and needs to be another team that comes out the West this year.
Agreed.
I'm done with them.
Agreed. No, and that's going to be the case. It looks like the Lakers are going to be the team coming out of the West.
What I tell you?
Which is, I'm not going to lie, it's a little annoying. Yeah, LeBron is on that team. Like, I loved LeBron when he went back to the Cleveland Cavaliers after he had that Heat moment. Just because it was kind of redemption. He's trying to get that W for Cleveland again, for Ohio. And then he's off to the Lakers. And I feel like that, to me, he could have went to the Sixers. It would have been better. Stay in the East. You own the East. You know what I mean? Don't go to the West. Now you're in Los Angeles because you want to be that high profile and this, that, and the other. Do your thing. Make your buck. I can't be mad at that. Throw some my way if you want to help. But I don't know. He's
number one seed right now.
He's looking pretty good. He's running that ship tight. So tell me, how you feeling about your Brooklyn Nets right now?
Well, real quick, we don't have to spend too much time on it, but I just wanted to get to the 15th seed in the
sorry. Yeah, take that away.
Into the Eastern Conference, because who do you think the worst team in the Eastern Conference is?
The Knickerbockers.
Oh, yeah. Well, we could have all predicted that. Fizdale's not the guy for the job. You guys signed 15 power forwards in the offseason, so what do you expect?
So they're playing pretty good. Morris and Randall are actually doing a pretty good job. For what it is, for what it's worth, they're doing all right.
Right now, the New York Knicks and the New York Giants have the same record. They're both 2-8.
Good. Probably the only time in the last month that's happened.
Getting back to the Eastern Conference, though, my Nets, I'm happy with the way Kyrie's playing right now. Definitely showing some leadership on that team, and definitely the predominant scorer that we thought he'd be, but we're sitting at 4-5 right now. We have a 5-game road trip right now. We beat Portland on the first round of that. Dame Lillard dropped freaking 60 points on us. So
yeah, he had a good game.
Lucky to come away with that one. Then we show up to Phoenix the next night and get washed by 30 points. And I got to give it to Phoenix. I mean,
to me, they're a highly underrated team right now.
You got all those young players now. You've been bad for so long.
And you went out and got a Kelly Oubre in the offseason, which I think was a smart move because he's got the same trajectory, a little older, but same trajectory.
Yeah, and you're doing this all without Ayton right now, too. He'll come back after the suspension. You still got Devin Booker.
Yep. Yes, to me, that's actually one of my biggest surprises in the West is the Suns. They're first in assists, field goal percentage. They're fourth in three-point percentage. They're fifth in scoring. Devin Booker himself is averaging 25.8 points per game on 55 pretty much percent field goal percentage. And the Suns are 6-3. Like, they're playing pretty damn well right now.
Yeah. Don't be surprised if you see D'Lo out there too mid-year. If they're making a nice run, I'd make a trade for him.
Just to have another guard there. Ricky Rubio, I think, has been their catalyst.
Him and Booker are boys, best friends, so I could see that happening.
I see it being possible.
Yeah, Nets 4-5. I'm not too happy with it, but I think they're still molding at this point. We'll see as the season goes along. But Sixers are 6-3 right now. Did I miss a game last night?
For who was that? I'm sorry?
Sixers are 6-3 right now?
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah, correct. And the Sixers, they started off 5-0, started off real hot, had a couple nice statement wins. But then you drop a couple, 3 in a row to be exact. You lose the Jazz. I wasn't happy about that. Lost to Denver Nuggets on a buzzer beater by Jokic, which then he, on the next play, fouled Joel Embiid, but Joel Embiid fouled out of the game on that, which the 2-minute report came out and said that they were wrong.
Yeah. Did you see the next game after that? He hit another buzzer beater?
On what's his face? On, what the heck is it?
Was it
Carl Anthony
T-Wolves.
T-Wolves, which actually brings me to a point I want to discuss with you. Who do you think the best 5 is in the league? Real quick, we'll go back to the Sixers in a second, but interestingly enough, I'll give you my 4, I guess you could say.
Okay, shoot me a few, and then I'll let you know.
AD, Embiid, Jokic, and Cat.
Like I said, I think Jokic. Yeah, Jokic. I don't want to disrespect them.
Nikola.
I I picked him as a possible MVP candidate, but I think his presence that he brings to that franchise is like, you look at AD, he has LeBron. He has a couple other stars around him. You look at Cat, he has Wiggins.
Who's playing pretty well as of recently.
The last 4 games, I think he's
30,
averaging
40,
like 30
35.
something.
Yeah, exactly.
I think he does the most with the least, which is why I like him as the best 5 in the NBA.
Who, Cat?
No.
Jokic.
Yeah. Cat's a crybaby. I hate him.
He's shooting the ball really well this year, but I can't stand him.
He got me so pissed that game he beat the Nets. He's like, thought he was like JJ Redick or something. Just
felt too good about himself, which is almost liberating to see Joel Embiid and him actually fight each other. That got me a little hyped up. I wish we were here on the podcast, because I think it was on a Tuesday. We would have watched it. It would have been awesome. So that was definitely interesting to watch. If I had to go best 5, obviously I would want to say Embiid, because he's the best defensive 5 out of that 4 that I gave you. AD doesn't want to be a 5. He wants to be a 4. Jokic is good, mediocre or average at best at defense. He's a very good offensive player because he can spread the ball. He can get the rebounds. But he's only averaging 16 points per game right now. And Karl-Anthony Towns is more of an offensive player. He's not really known for his defense, I guess you could say.
Yeah, he's pretty soft in the paint.
Exactly.
He'll grab his boards just because he's tall, but
he's not. He can be easily moved. If you put Al Horford, Joel Embiid, you can put pretty much anybody. You can put him a Jared Allen on him, and he's going to be able to not Jared Allen. That's the guy.
DeAndre Jordan.
No, who's your buddy on the Nets?
Jared Allen.
Jared Allen with the throw. Yeah, okay. I could see him suppressing Karl-Anthony Towns when it comes down to it. And if you look at defense and offense, you got to kind of look at Joel Embiid, because he is averaging 25 points a game right now. He missed a few games because of that suspension, which kind of puts him a knock, and then he missed a couple more due to load management. But he's the best defensive one of the bunch, a little better offensively. So that's just a little thing I wanted to hit you with. But getting back to the Sixers, they dropped the 3, which bothered me. Ben Simmons is out. Actually, back tonight he's playing, which is pretty awesome because we need him, and offense is a little better when he's on the court. But it was funny. They had this guy Raul Neto, a guy from Brazil.
Did you hit the buzzer beater?
That's Furkan Korkmaz, which that's my boy. The last 3 years I've been watching him, and he's been blossoming into a better bomber.
Foreign players, I feel.
Dude, there's something about those European players that when they come over here, it's almost like a Rudy Gobert. He comes over here and he's like, you know what? Us Euro players got it.
It's like my boy Kurucs.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he's out here smacking his girl or whatever it was. They got him in trouble, but
nothing was confirmed.
But nonetheless, they're still coming over here and doing the thing. So I got to give a shout out to all the Euro guys coming over and playing.
Let me break down some top stats so far through the NBA. Top 3 in points per game. Who do you think?
East and West, or is this
just overall?
Overall, top 3 in games, or top points per game.
Yep.
Bucks?
No, players.
Oh, top players? Oh, I just looked at this list the other day. AD, D'Angelo Russell, and Kyrie Irving?
You whiffed on 2 out of 3.
So what was that? Where was I right?
So James Harden leads the league right now, 37.1 a game.
Wow.
Dame Lillard, 33.
Mm-hmm.
And third is Kyrie with 30.
Those numbers are going to come down a little bit as the season progresses.
Well, Dame dropped 60, so
exactly, that just inflates it.
Kyrie had a 50-point game. So
James Harden, 37 is
that'll be his average.
I hate to say it, but I think that will be, and he's still not going to get MVP this year.
I'm still not feeling that whole Rockets dynamic. I don't know how it's going to play out.
Yeah. They're not.
I feel like Westbrook kind of took like a backseat to Harden. That's Harden's team.
Mm-hmm.
So that'll be curious to see how that plays out. I think Westbrook's even averaging still 26, 27 a game. So
yeah, that is an interesting dynamic going on there. And I know they're really annoyed with themselves because they're not playing very good defense. They're playing a lot better offense. And they're not doing great as a team. I mean, yeah, they're sitting at third place and they're 7-3. But they could be a lot better. They could be playing and piecing it together a little bit better, which is curious. It kind of brings it to the point of Russ Westbrook. I don't see him very long in a Houston Rocket jersey. I can see him getting traded this year just due to the way the dynamic is of the team. He's not being used to his full potential. You know, I could see him going to the Wizards and just totally running it, and him just having Bradley Beal as like a drop off, like you go ahead and shoot the three and yada yada yada. No,
I don't know if he'll get traded this year, but I don't. Yeah, like you said, I think that's James, or like I said, that's James Harden's team. I don't see maybe there for a championship run the next couple of years, but he's gonna get greedy at one point, and he's gonna want to have his own team. Let's get into top assist leaders this year. Who do you think leads the league in assists?
Luka Doncic.
Nope.
No, leads the league in assists.
Luka Doncic is second.
Second, okay.
He averages 9.1 a game.
Yep.
Malcolm Brogdon is third with 8.9. Who do you think is first with 11 assists a game?
LBJ, LeBron James.
Yes, sir.
11 assists a game, yeah. He's having a really good year, and I really can't knock it. And he's up there in points, too, if I'm not mistaken. He's got to be, what is he average right now?
17th year in the league, then they say the sky's slowing down, but
he's averaging 24.6 points per game.
First in the Western Conference.
You know, it's funny. There was a play last year when Kyle Kuzma pushed LeBron to go play defense. I think last year, and that was like the thing you kept seeing was, LeBron had to get pushed to play defense. Yeah, I think last year was a rest year for him, and he knew it. He knew he wasn't going to have a good team.
They're not competing for anything last year. So
no.
He's
like, I got Lonzo Ball, I got B.I., I have Josh Hart. I'm not going anywhere. Let me make some chess moves. That's where LeBron James is very he's underrated. I think he's 4 seasons ahead of himself. He knows he's going to win a championship in 2 years.
Yeah.
But he's getting everything right this year.
He's going to get one more before.
Yeah. Oh, 100%. And with the Lakers, too.
All right, so quick couple last stats for the NBA, then we'll get into a couple injuries, too. Rebounding. Andre Drummond, 18 boards a game he's averaging.
He's been doing that for the last couple of years. Not 18 point whatever, but he's been doing that for a minute, which blows my mind. I think it's come down a little bit. I think he's at 17 and a half now, I think, after last night, but still 17 and a half rebounds per game. You got to give it to him.
You know who's second with 14.3 boards a game?
I don't want to say it. No.
I know you don't.
I know. I'm looking at it right now. I don't want to.
Freak.
Yeah, I know. Well, you know who's out? You know who's in third right now?
Joel Embiid.
Kevin Love.
No. Okay.
Kevin Love with 13.4. Got to give him some love.
Couple quick stats, though. I thought that was pretty cool. Anthony Davis averaging 3 blocks a game so far, which leads the league by far.
Yeah.
And I also want to shout out your boy Ben Simmons, averaging 3 steals a game.
Which, get this.
That's Gary Payton-esque.
That he's had 2 games of 7 steals. The rest of the NBA has 0. So the fact that him by himself has 2, 7 steal games it's unfathomable, really. That's hard to do, coming across 7 steals, 7 picks, intercepting the ball. That's not intuition, but it's like that instinct. I don't know what it is, but he's got it. He's definitely a defensive player. He's upped his game.
He's reading a lot of passes before they're coming and
exactly
taking
right.
advantage of it.
I think having Matisse Thybulle next to him, who's also very good instinctually in that regard, has stepped up Ben Simmons a little bit, where he's like, damn, I can't have this rookie step in leading the team in more steals than me. So let me go ahead and do that. Which, yeah, I'm happy that you gave him a little shout out, because you wouldn't really see that necessarily.
No, I hate him, but
as you said, he's a glorified Michael Kidd-Gilchrist, whatever you said.
Let's talk about a little bit of these injuries and how they'll affect the team. I thought the Kings would be one of these up and coming teams this year, but De'Aaron Fox going down for 3 to 4 weeks, that might put them completely out of contention.
Yeah. Sitting at 3-6 right now. They're sitting at 12th in the West. I agree with you. I think that's going to be a little bit of a suppressor on them, for sure. Because, De'Aaron Fox, a very fast player. He plays quick. He's playing down court all the time. He's averaging 18.2 points per game right now, he's having himself a really good year. So that's unfortunate for him that he's going to miss 3 to 4. He's roughly 15 to 20 games.
And I think the biggest injury of the weekend was Gordon Hayward.
Surprising.
He's going to be out 6 weeks. The Celtics were sitting at 8-1 at the top of the conference. Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown, Kemba Walker are all playing phenomenally.
Mm-hmm.
But you're looking at that Eastern Conference too. The Raptors are a surprising 7-2. We're looking at all those, teams that I feel we're in the same class with. You got the Heat, the Raptors, Sixers, Pacers, kind of all in that same playoff discussion. But
which Indiana is underwhelming, sitting at sixth place at 6-4. Boston, I don't know if they can keep that up, even with Gordon Hayward going out, but they're 8-1. They've played some funky teams. They almost lost to the Knicks. They almost lost to, I think it was the Cavs. Wins by 5 kind of thing.
Who the Cavs are sitting at the 7th seed right now in the East.
They're not doing bad. That surprises me a little bit.
Yeah, Kevin Love, Tristan Thompson,
Darius
Sexton,
Garland.
they're not terrible.
They're not bad. No, they're not bad. I don't see them staying there for much longer. I don't see them making a playoff run there. I could see Orlando sneaking into that spot, but that's a little surprising. I'm not going to lie. I put that down as my surprise of the week that the Cavs were sitting in 7th for sure. But let's get back to the NFL. We'll do a little bit of going over the next week's games, and we will see what they're all about, getting ourselves ready and primed for the following weeks.
So, trickling back to week 6, EB is sitting at 26, 24, and 1.
2 games on you.
So, I have not looked at any games this week, so let's rip some off and we'll see what happens.
All right, so we can start with this one game. We'll go through, do our normal, pick 5 games, and we'll see what they're all about. So the first game I am going to pick is the Chiefs and Chargers game. Obviously,
Mexico City,
exactly right. I am probably going to go with the Chargers on this one, though they're going to lose. They're actually a 3.5-point favorite to lose over the Chiefs.
Technically the home team there?
They are technically the home team. They're correct. But I'm just going to take them because I love them, but they're not going to win. I mean, if they do, I'd be very surprised. They can maybe get their offense back on track with a not as good or mediocre Chiefs defense.
Well, you remember last year when the Chiefs and Raiders went down there and they canceled the game because the
turf wasn't bad. They definitely heightened that this year and made sure it was good.
I wouldn't expect that this year, but I think week under Mahomes' belt, back off the injury, I think
he's going to take the cake on that one.
Yeah, I'd probably say maybe a 34-21 game.
If I'm lucky, if they can put up 21. Jets and Redskins going on this week. We're obviously going to get our 2 teams out of the way.
Okay. Were we in Washington this week? Or
They are. It's a 1:00 game.
Obviously.
They're playing in Landover FedEx Field, so they're playing in Washington.
Okay. We're going with the Jets. Big win off the Giants last week. Haskins, I don't think he's that guy, man.
No.
I just think he's going to make multiple mistakes. The Jets' run defense is going to shut down. I think Geis might be coming back this week. I'm not sure.
Mm-hmm.
Check out for the fantasy wire on that one. But either way, Jets are going to shut down the run game. They're going to force Haskins to pass. He's made multiple mistakes, threw 3 picks versus the Giants. I don't see anything different versus the Jets.
Nope.
So, where we're going with that.
Yeah, we're going to go there with that. I think the Redskins may just get it done. I think the Jets are going to be on their high horse saying to themselves, we busted the Giants. We nice.
Don't get me wrong. You can quote me now. This is a typical Jets letdown game.
This would be.
We just won, beat the Giants. We have high hopes, and then we're going to go into Washington and lay a fight.
I don't foresee them winning another NFC East game this year. Let's just put it that way.
Well, if we beat the Redskins, we'll be 3-1 versus the NFC East,
So an intriguing game to me that I'm obviously going to take I'm going to take a Philadelphia team here is the rematch of the Super Bowl, the Patriots versus the Eagles. Right now, the Patriots are favored to win. They're playing the game in Philadelphia, though, and I'm going to go ahead and say the Philadelphia Eagles are going to be the winners of this game. It's hard. I'm really, I try to bet some money on that line because it's 3.5 point there. Over under is 44.5. I could see that being that 24-23 type kind of game.
It's going to be a close one.
It's going to be a real close one. So I'm going to go ahead and say the Eagles are going to win that game.
I wish you didn't pick that one, but
it's okay. I'm trying to let you catch back up in the rankings here.
What do we got for
You want the Sunday night game?
Yeah.
Bears Rams.
It's a tough one. Both these teams are kind of struggling.
Mm-hmm.
You got the Rams at home, correct?
The Rams. Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, they're playing out in the Coliseum.
I think I could go the Rams still. I think Goff bounces back, even though I hate his guts because he's not a good quarterback and he got paid $140 million. But I think that Bears team is just scared right now. I mean,
Trubisky's playing horribly, and I'm pretty upset that you took the LA team because now I have to sit there and actually hope that Trubisky wins just so I can say I beat you this week.
I just don't trust them. Unfortunately, I had to start both Montgomery and Tyreek Cohen last week in fantasy, and they got me a combined 15 points. They don't have a run game going.
No.
Obviously, they're shutting down that and making Trubisky pass, and I think that the Rams' defense ultimately is going to be too much for the Bears.
So we have, 3 more games to pick?
Yep.
So a random shout-out game I'm going to select for us because you have no other option is the Bills and Dolphins. For some reason, I could see the Dolphins winning this game. So I'm going to take them. I'm going to say Dolphins are going to beat the Bills this week. Though Bills are 5.5-point favorite.
Where's that game? Miami?
That game is in fact in Miami Gardens. But I could totally see the Dolphins somehow pulling this one out, moving up to 3-7, furthering themselves for the tank for Tua. And yeah. You want to pick the next game, or would you like me to?
No, I got you. Let's look at what I think is going to be one of the best games of the week is the Texans and Ravens. Ravens are at home. Texans getting back Will Fuller. It's probably going to decide that kind of 3, 4, 5 seed in the playoff rankings.
AFC,
but
sure.
I'm riding the hot hand. I'm going with the Ravens. I think Lamar Jackson just giving you an MVP season. I think the Texans defense is looking a little stuttered the last couple weeks. So I think Lamar Jackson shows up on primetime and lights him up. I think he goes for 3 touchdowns. He'll run 1 in. He'll throw for 2, 100 yards rushing, 250 passing, and I think they're smooth sailing. I think that going back to our earlier predictions that I thought the Chiefs would be the team to knock out the Pats, at this point, I think it's got to be the Ravens. The Ravens, they already knocked them off at home, but they're going to have to go to Foxborough. But I'm liking my chances with the Ravens going into the playoffs and getting into the AFC Championship game.
No, totally. The Ravens are doing a lot better than a lot of people thought. Though Texans have a guy behind center by the name of Deshaun Watson, and he's clutch. He's absolutely clutch, dating back to Clemson. So I see the Texans being a team that humbles the Ravens a little bit. I can see the Ravens having a little more a better postseason success than the Texans this year. Though I think the Texans are going to come along, even that division out. They're both going to end up being 7-3 by the day's end, and I can see the Texans being that W.
All right, so let's get into the last game. We'll do the Thursday night game this week. Browns at home versus Steelers. I'm going to let you pick this one. Mason Rudolph came off a good game last week.
Yeah.
Got the W. Browns underperforming 3-6. Steelers sitting at 5-4. Steelers defense really impressed me last week. I'm not going to lie. They really stepped up. Devin Bush looks like he's going to be right behind Nick Bosa for
Defensive Player of the Year.
Yep.
I think Minka Fitzpatrick was very good going up and grabbing. He's worth the first
rookie Defensive Player of the Year.
Yeah, exactly. I think Minka Fitzpatrick has been a wonderful addition to their defense. They finally have themselves that secondary player they've been longing for since Troy Polamalu. I'm going to go ahead and take Pittsburgh on this one. I'm going to let you root for Baker Mayfield this week. I just still can't stand him for some reason. And I feel bad because he seems like a nice guy, but yeah, you wanted Steelers, didn't you?
Yeah, no, I would have took them too.
Yeah, no, I'm going to go ahead and take the Steelers in that one.
I feel like all this hype's on Baker Mayfield, and he's got all these TV commercials and all this stuff, and he's so much better than Sam Darnold and all this stuff. No. But it's like, if you look at all those QBs that were taken, Sam Darnold, Baker Mayfield, Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson's the best one taken in the class.
Sure.
So what does that say about all those other franchises that passed on him,
Sure.
Saquon Barkley's the running back of the generation, but runs 13 rushes for 1 yard versus the New York Jets. So,
which I'd be curious. I don't know what the stat line is right now. I can lead to think that Lamar Jackson has more rushing yards than Saquon Barkley.
He probably does.
So enough said. So I think that should just pretty much wraps up whatever week we're on here at Tea Time Sports. But it's been nice to get back into the booth with you, Tea Time.
Yes, sir. We didn't fist fight, so
not as much as I thought we would.
Nets and Sixers haven't played yet, so.
Oh, that's gonna be the week, baby.
We'll
We'll see what happens.
Hey.
Hopefully, we can go to that game. So we'll have to look out for that one. But thank you, Sono Entertainment, for hosting us and having us. Thank you to Mike's Deli for just being Mike's Deli. All that good stuff.
Shout out to my brother BK on the boards. Happy belated birthday.
And Tiempo, congratulations on getting married, bro. I'm really happy for you. I wish you a lifetime of happiness. So, T-Time Sports, adios.
Yeah.